Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Alcandros International Trading Podcast. This is your host, owner-director of Alcandros International Trading, Constantine Alcandros, dictating. Today we're going to cover an article that was written yesterday by Al Jazeera. It's a fascinating story. It's very much in the likes of the sort of similar to the Jeffrey Epstein story. It's got a lot of things, except the pedophilia, of course, and anything else. Yeah, great. It's probably going to get me flagged by YouTube. But anyway, we'll see what happens. So I wanted to, yesterday we covered, I would have covered this yesterday, but instead of decided to cover documentation. So I'll be reading this article today. So as I mentioned before, Al Jazeera, the title, Why Did Zambia Seize a Mystery Plane Filled with Cash, Guns, and Medals? You ask. Well, let's find out. Oh, pardon me. Well, had spicy dinner today, so all good. When a mysterious plane was intercepted on August 14th in the Zambian capital, Lusaka, by local authorities, Karim Assad, an investigative journalist working for an Egyptian fact-checking platform, Matsada Touche, got to work. Anyway, what he found was a complex network of passengers on board a plane with a suspicious flight path that included recent stops in Dubai, Tel Aviv, Cairo, and Benghazi and Tripoli. On August 19th, Egyptian authorities arrested Assad at his home in the Al-Sharouk neighborhood in eastern Cairo. Matsada Touche says security forces assaulted Assad's wife and threatened their child in the process. He has since been released, but why were the Egyptian security forces so threatened by the information he released? Here is what you need to know about the mysterious plane, its passengers, and its cargo. Where was the plane from? Through open source data and online flight tracks, Matsada Touche was able to reveal a trail of suspicious flight paths in which the plane, a high-speed corporate bombardier, appeared to fly unfettered across multiple locations. According to the data, the plane appears to have been registered in San Marino, but operated by an office in Dubai that was connected to the aircraft rental service in Antwerp, Belgium. The aircraft owner had asked FlightAware, the world's largest flight tracking platform, not to track the plane's flights and to withhold flight information from the public. Where did it go? The plane appears to have made 361 round trips in 2 years, usually in and out of Cairo to various destinations. It even made flights to Tripoli and Benghazi, two cities on the other side of the ongoing conflict in Libya, within days of each other. On another occasion, it took off from Cairo and stopped over in Tel Aviv and Doha, Qatar, before returning to the Egyptian capital. The plane was stopped on August 14, 2023 at Kenneth Kaunda International Airport in Lusaka, having flown from Amman, Jordan, with an overnight stopover in Cairo. Who was on board the plane? Zambian authorities have so far arrested 13 people in connection with the plane, including 6 Egyptians, 4 Zambians, and individuals from Latvia, the Netherlands, and Spain. Matsada Touche has published details related to some of those individuals who appear to be a clandestine network ranging from a high-profile tycoon to lesser-known individuals with a shady trail of business stretching across Europe and the Middle East. Some were relatively easy to find information on, including Zambian national Shadrach Kasanda, known as the Man of Gold, and Mr. Money, who regularly published pictures and videos of himself next to large quantities of what appeared to be gold. Others include a major in the Egyptian army who briefly worked at the Egyptian embassy in the U.S. capital, and a police lieutenant in the Egyptian Ministry of the Interior. Matsada Touche also named Michael Adel Botros as a passenger, according to the British government's register, as a 42-year-old Egyptian national residing in Qatar. He is the director of Amstone International Limited, which, according to their website, offers a wide range of advanced defense technology and boasts offices in the U.S., Egypt, Poland, Greece, the UAE, United Kingdom, and France. Now, I actually visited this website the other day. It looks very slick, very professional. It's a very nice looking website, but if you look at the so-called offices in these other countries, they have the same. I believe it was a mobile number, so it's debatable whether or not those offices actually exist in those countries. I call bullshit. I don't think they do. I think he was giving off that impression to seem like he was running a much bigger operation, a bigger company, which it wasn't really. What was on the plane on August 14th, the day after the plane arrived in Zambia, the country's Drug Enforcement Commission, DEC, entered the aircraft. According to a DEC statement, it had received information that a chartered aircraft carrying dangerous goods had landed at Kenneth Condi International Airport on August 13th, 2023. It's 1900 hours. The next day, DEC reportedly seized more than 5.5 million stored in bags and boxes, 5 pistols, 7 magazines, and more than 100 rounds of ammunition. In a further twist, more than 600 pieces of what was initially believed to be gold were found. However, on further inspection, the pieces were found to be mainly copper and zinc alloy. This is an interesting story because, like I said, this is kind of reminds me of like the Epstein story, in that you've got a shady group of people traveling internationally doing business, and no one really knows how or what they're doing. Pretty evident to me that they were a bunch of scammers who were selling gold, who claimed to be selling gold. What they were selling, in fact, was fake. Just reading the comments here. Yeah, I think this seems pretty clear, an operation that was directed out of Cairo, considering that you have that two of the members in this clandestine group are Egyptian government what's the word, damn it, it's late here, that's why my brain is not working. They're Egyptian not dignitaries is the word, but they work in the Egyptian government. You got one who's a major in the army, and another who's working in the Interior Ministry, which is basically CIA or FBI in Egypt. So pretty obvious that it was run out of Cairo. But obviously it's got members in other places. I think the Zambian part of this is probably got to do with the fact that a lot of gold comes out from that part of the world, and I think probably they wanted Zambians as a front to, sort of push and sell the gold. I don't think that they were dealing with legitimately. I think it's pretty obvious that they were running a scam, and that they were basically, pretending to be selling gold when in fact they were not. I mean, how else would you explain, bullion that looks like gold, but then upon further inspection turns out it's mainly copper and zinc alloy? So clearly they were running a gold scam. This is definitely a gold scam. And also the fact that you have a Zambian frontman by the name of Shadrach Kasanda, who's known as the man of gold, as your front guy. Actually, let's see if I wonder what happens if we actually just put him into Google or search engine here. I'm using Bing right now. See if there's any pictures of this guy. Okay, there's one picture of him. This one being arrested, looks like. There's an article about this. Zambian time. Okay, so this is probably from the... Alright, so it looks like this is a Zimbabwean paper. Zambian tycoon, alleged gold dealer Shadrach Cassandra arrested. Zambian tycoon Shadrach Cassandra has been arrested by law enforcement agencies in Lusaka. This follows the search of his house earlier yesterday. Cassandra, where police officers couldn't disclose where he was being taken, but he was thrown in a white bus under heavy security and sped off. The writing is a bit poor. When asked by journalists if he felt safe, he said no. Sources say he's linked to the plane. I don't know why he's worried about feeling safe. I mean, you know. He's the criminal in this. But anyway, source says he's linked to a plane which stopped at Kanaconda. Official statement says he's proof. Okay, whatever. Nothing more interesting past that. But curious to see if there's like a Instagram. I'd like to see what he was posting. I might just use my Brave browser because Bing is a bit crap, and every time I try to use Google, it just takes me back to Bing, which really shits me. So I'll try Brave. So if I just put his name in Brave, let's see what it prompts up. Yeah, same article. Here's the Zambia Monitor. See what they say about this. Gold scandal, Cassandra, 3 others appearing in court and remain in jail on grounds of legal technicalities. This is from the Zambia Monitor. Lusaka businessman Shadrach Cassandra and 3 other Zambians on Friday appeared before the magistrate court in connection with we know about the 5.5 million that was found on that plane. Could not take the plea because the indictment was defective. Legal counsel could not take it for not before the court. Okay, that doesn't matter. That's not interesting. So none of the Egyptians have been formally charged. Okay, there's really nothing. Okay, this article isn't particularly interesting either. It doesn't really go into any of the mechanics of their operation, which kind of shits me because that's what I want to know. Oh, here we go. He's got an Instagram. Let's see what he was posting on here. No, I think this is another one. Surely this can't be his. No, I don't think that's it. Hang on. Maybe if I put his name in, I don't know. He had that title. What was that title? He had the Gold King or something. Hang on. Mr. Money, the Man of Gold. Okay, let's see if we type in Man of Gold. Nothing really seems to come up. Mr. Money, about Mr. Money. No, I would think probably he would go on YouTube. Not YouTube, but Instagram and post, and flex. So, because it does say here he would, or was it, he would regularly publish pictures and videos of himself next to large quantities of what appeared to be gold. So, Instagram would be the first thing that would come to mind for this. Maybe he was just doing this through Facebook, or maybe this was on the TV and the media. Yeah, I don't know. It's a fascinating story. Zambian President Hakendi Hichilema, I think it's Hichilema, I don't think you would say Hichilema, but has said everyone involved in the scam at the Lusaka airport will be arrested and prosecuted. So he's come out and said it's a scam, a gold scam, and I think that's probably true because you get a lot of these jokers who go around flexing, don't really actually have the gold. So I think it's pretty obvious that I think the brains behind this were probably the Europeans, the Spaniards, the European portion of this. might have been the instigators of the scam, and they were using the Egyptian authorities as kind of guys to kind of run the operations of this, maybe. And the Zambian contingent was really there as the kind of the front. So the Zambians were the front, the Egyptians were sort of the men behind the scenes running the show, and then behind them were the European contingent, all working together. I don't know, possibly. That's kind of how it seems like from reading this article. But there you go. This is a gold scam, and the reason I'm covering this article is not just because it's a fascinating story. I don't just pick articles because they're fascinating. If that was the case, of reading UFO stories, which I'm not. This is important with international trade because this kind of, number one, this is international trade. This is a story about an international trade scam with gold. And honestly, we see this so often with gold. It happens all the time in Africa. Understandably, because you've got less government, there's less power with governments over there to a degree. There's more, you can get away with things over there more because of less regulation or less competency of governments over there. Africa's still kind of sort of figuring itself out. Yeah, I think it's improving. I think this is a good sign for the Zambian government. It looks like they're definitely doing their job. So that's good to see, and they're not being soft or trying to make cover for anybody here. So I think justice will be done here. But this goes to show you how these scams work. You see, this is what they do. They'll get. I'll see it all the time on Facebook and in Instagram. Oh, we have gold for sale, blah blah blah. And how often you see these pictures and they just don't look like gold. It looks like it's just gold-plated metal, like inferior metal that's been plated with gold. And I can guarantee you, all you'd need to do is just scratch the surface or just maybe melt the surface. Oftentimes what they do is they actually they'll get, what scammers do with gold is they'll get like a copper bar, say, or a zinc or lead bar. And they will actually cover the exterior of the bar, lead bar or copper bar, with gold. So technically speaking, the bar that you see in front of you is gold. But again, you have to melt away the gold to see that, no, it's actually the inside of that, the outer shell of that bar is gold, but once you get beneath that, it's actually copper. So that's that would probably be the one of the more sophisticated scams. If you want to get any more sophisticated with the gold scams, I believe the other thing that they do is, from what I've heard, I believe that they'll try and sell, say you're looking for refined bullion, 99.9% bullion, right? They'll try and sell gold that is beneath that percentage as refined 999% gold bullion. So not 999%, but it might only be 98%, maybe 98%, 97, 96, 95% pure gold. Yeah, and it still has the impurities in it, but they'll sell you. Now, that's a more sophisticated scam. That's a little bit more, well, I guess to some degree, maybe it's a little bit more tricky to work that out because technically speaking, it's only a few percentage points difference that you have to, the margin for error is much slimmer. Not much slimmer. The margin for, because it's very similar in percentage, that's a little bit trickier to find. Where with a gold-plated lead bar or something that had gold around it that wasn't, you'd be able to more easily tell by the weight. Weighing would be. Yeah, it's interesting to figure. It would be interesting to see who these guys are selling to. Who's really going out and buying? The only thing I can think of is they're selling to people, newbies. Generally speaking, an experienced, seasoned gold dealer will know what to look for in terms of whether a bar is fake or not. So the only thing I can think of is these guys would be preying on people looking to break into the industry who have some money, who want to invest in gold, but probably don't know a damn thing about it. And honestly, having done this business now for several years, the amount of the amount of requests we get, the amount of people that come to us, they have no clue about how international trade works. It actually shocks me how much ignorance there is in this business. So, you know what? It's really maybe not that surprising that these scams do work. I mean, how many people have come to us and they'll say, "Oh, we want to buy such and such," and they're like, "Oh, we want to do it like this," and we want to use this procedure. It's like that procedure doesn't even exist. No bank is going to operate, operate the way you want to operate, or no seller is going to want to operate the way you're operating. And some of these people are even like experienced, people in international trade, but because they've been doing a different product and they are pivoting to something different that has different procedures, even then they still have no clue. So I mean, they really clearly these people just prey on, entry level buyers into the entry level gold buyers who don't understand. But look, I mean, even if you were a newbie to gold, you would still, make sure you take your chances. Yeah, I mean, sorry, you would still you would still ensure that what you're buying is legit by taking certain precautions, like being aware of the weight, weighing the gold bar. There's ways to test the purity of the gold bar. I'm trying to remember what are the other tests. I forget. But there's a few ways you can tell. I mean, are these? I mean, are these? I mean, I don't know. Are these people not doing that? Are they not testing it? Or are they just assuming? I mean, like I said, the only thing I can think of is they're naive, they're too trusting, and they're probably hungry too. They want to hurry up and get their business off the ground. They want to buy gold. They want that status, and so I think a lot of them perhaps are impatient and ignorant buyers. So these are the type of people a criminal syndicate like this would feed on. And it makes sense that you'd have a guy like Shadrach Kasunda as your front man. If he's going around, posting on Instagram how, "Oh, look at all this gold I have, and I'm going here and doing a gold deal, and going there and doing a gold deal, and blah blah blah." Well, then of course people will think, "Oh, hey, this guy's legit. Let's knock on this guy's door and get him to sell us gold." And maybe, who knows? Maybe they don't even test it. Maybe they're like, "Well, hey, we know this Shadrach Kasunda, let's buy gold from him because he's everyone on Instagram, Facebook, and no one's complained about his product yet." So, I mean, I would think though that if you bought gold from this guy and you later found out that it was fake, I'm sure you'd be doing something about it. So maybe there's a muscle arm to this big network that we don't know about yet that's going around threatening screwed buyers. Buyers who've been screwed by them and been told to keep their mouths shut or they'll be dead. So who knows? Maybe that's a possibility as well. Yeah, that's really probably it. I don't think there's anything more to add. All I'll say is, like you said, if you're dealing with gold, take precautions. You're spending. Look, if you're going to spend that, if you're going to spend, because gold's expensive, man. If you're going to spend thousands, or not even thousands, I mean, it depends how much you buy. But if you're going to spend millions, let's say if you're going to spend millions of dollars in the least on gold, take precautions, please. Test the weight, test the purity of the gold. Just see if it's how it scratches or how it, is it soft, is it hard? Then just shake hands just assume that the guy you're dealing with is going to be legit, and you're just going to shake hands and exchange gold for money, and then everything will be hunky dory. So, don't do that. But this is. I'm guessing these guys probably cooperated also. Like, the other thing I was going to add too is probably these guys would probably take payment by cash and carry, because this is another thing we do see in gold is cash and carry. Now, not all cash and carry are scams, but cash and carry can potentially be. Let's put it this way: you're more likely to get scammed via cash and carry than you would via, say, if you were buying gold from a bank via Brinks to Brinks. or I mean the other thing you have to watch out for are scams via change of title, which can happen as well. So you got to be wary of those as well, because it's another way to exchange gold is you don't actually have the gold transported to you. There might be gold, say, in a bank in Switzerland, someone owns. They say, look, I want to unload it. You're a buyer. You're like, yeah, cool. I want to invest in gold, but you might not want the actual. You might be, say, living in, I don't know, Italy. I don't know, and you're like, I want the gold, but I don't want to actually transport the gold. Well, you can just leave it in the bank in Switzerland, and you just change the title. So it's simply just a case of you just sign a contract saying I buy this, and the title of the gold changes hands. So you never actually have to transport the gold. So there can be scams involved in that too if the documentation's fake. But with cash and carry, definitely potentially you're looking at, and that would explain why there's no record, why the flight company was told not to keep a record of their flights, so that way there's no track of where their buyers are. But clearly their buyers are pretty much in a lot of places by the looks of it. Zambia, I think I saw Kenya on this list somewhere, maybe, but certainly, sort of Egypt, the Middle East, Qatar, Dubai, Israel. Seems to be where these buyers are. So, yeah. Well, I'll just shamelessly plug our website. So this is you can find us at www.alkindrostrading.com. There you can become a member, join. And you can use our forum to post product offers and make requests, find buyers and sellers, make friends, ask questions, and answer questions. You can also find out more about us on that site, our services, what we offer, where we operate, etc., etc., etc. We're also on Facebook, Instagram, all over social media, LinkedIn, VContact, Gab, Twitter, formerly Twitter. WhatsApp, Telegram, and TikTok, and who knows, maybe another one or two that I've forgotten to mention. So, there was another article similar to this story, I believe. I think it was related, or might have been a separate story. I'll have to check it, but I think that's enough for tonight. I don't think there's any need to kind of go into more detail. So I've already really looked at a couple of articles actually already. So there's probably no need to go into any further detail with this story tonight. Perhaps tomorrow I'll go into further detail if I'm in the mood, or maybe I'll come back to it in a couple of days. We'll see how we go. Either way, we'll leave it at that. That ends this edition of the Alkindros International Trading Podcast, the August 23rd edition. This is Konstantin Alkindros, Director and Owner of Alkindros International Trading, signing out.